Guys, good Friday morning. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk. This is an insider's guide to real estate, life, and the pursuit of happiness on the I Love CVille Network. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world. Today, we're going to enjoy a slice of pie.
Today's pie day.
Today's pie day.
Pie day.
My friend brought us a slice of pie, and this is a serious-looking piece of pie right here.
Oh, man, I tell you what, I take my pie real seriously, and the pie chest is awesome. And we actually already sent pies out to customers and clients, but we're going to give away two full apple pies away.
Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're doing today. We're giving 2 pies away today.
This pie is amazing. Guys, we're giving away 2 pies today on Real Talk. How can they win the pie?
So
first, they got to like and share the show.
I got to like and share the show, and I don't know, as the show goes on, you and I know, isn't that awesome? Yeah,
this is going to make your Thanksgiving so fantastic, and I'll put it in perspective. This man gave myself and my wife a gift card to the Pie Chest, and we used that gift card this week to order this exact pie.
There you go, buddy.
Because there's, I believe, 4 to 5 options.
6
options, and they built a website for it.
They did.
It was very easy to use. Your gift, you and Yonna's gift, is going to be on our Thanksgiving Day table.
That's our game plan. That's what we want to do. We want to be at your table.
Yeah. So if you guys
brilliant, I don't know about that. Okay.
You guys want one of the best apple pies I've ever had? Give the show a like and a share, and put in the comment section on Facebook or on Instagram some perspective about real estate, life, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, at the end of the show, we'll see how it goes, and whoever whatever Batman and Robin feel it's a good thing. We're going to give 2 pies away, and the way it's going to work is at the end of the show, you DM Jerry your email, and I'm going to set that up. So all you got to do is show up either on Monday or Tuesday before Thanksgiving and pick up your pie.
There you go. Pie for Thanksgiving. It's phenomenal. Greg Slater and Quinton Beckham, two heavy hitters in Virginia real estate on the program today. Just don't tell them that.
Right.
See, he doesn't know what to do is eat that pie or respond to that comment.
I'm like, what do I do?
I think you're going to eat the pie, aren't you?
And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to let you interview everybody, and I'm going to eat the pie.
No.
What I'm going to do.
I love when you and Slater talk. Greg's A+
God,
people.
Yeah.
I like Greg.
I love Greg. He's doing. We'll talk about at the end of his interview. He's doing some great stuff at the Land Trust. But our nickname at the Land Trust is Bert and Ernie. We got Batman and Robin. It's Bert and Ernie.
You and Greg Slater are Bert and Ernie.
Bert and Ernie.
Who's whom? Who's which one?
You go ahead and figure that out. What do you think? Maybe that might be a question. That might be a question to give a pie away.
Someone on our feed said our nicknames for our show. I think it was Andy Wilfong, or no. Who was it? Somebody on the show said the Postman and Sparky. Our nicknames are the Postman and Sparky. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Yeah, the Postman and Sparky is what.
I kind of like Batman and Robin.
I like Batman and Robin better.
Plus we look pretty awesome in those.
Oh,
okay. Not
still
really.
Getting feedback on that.
Really?
Yeah.
My feedback from my youngest daughter, we're gonna. She already got married, but we're gonna have the actual ceremony in May of next year. It's freaking
This
awesome.
is amazing.
This is awesome.
You can win a full pie of this for Thanksgiving. Give the show a like and a share, and put some comments in the comment section. We'll get to them on air. Should we call Greg in?
Now let's eat pie. Let's eat pie.
Greg's got his pulse on new construction.
He does. Yeah, this is really been looking forward to this because I understand new construction, but this guy really understands it. And then I want to talk a little bit about what he's seeing 2021 going to look like. So let's call him in. While you do that, I'm going to eat pie.
You're in a good spot, my friend. Greg Slater on the line. I'm going to wait for Judah Wickhauer to give us the green light. I am getting the green light. There's Greg Slater. I haven't seen this man in a little while. I enjoy chatting with him. Greg, you are live now. We got the green light in. How are you? How's life? How's it going? 2020, how's it going?
Everything's just fine. We're just doing our thing out here in Crozet. It's not a bad place to ride out a pandemic.
He's in heaven in Crozet right now.
Oh, sure.
Right out the pandemic.
He doesn't have pie, though.
You know what goes good with pie, don't you?
What's that?
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
Says the guy who owns an ice cream store.
If you guys want to give away some 3-pint specials, we can hook you up.
There you go. All right, we will do that. Can I say yes to that?
Let's say yes to them. That will be You know what? That'll be a good giveaway for next Tuesday.
Yeah, Crozet Creamery.
Yeah.
You know, the best.
We'll talk offline, but we do every Wednesday or Thursday. We have like a 3-pint special flavor, and you get 3 different flavors, and we'll give away a couple of those if you want.
Okay,
Would love
what a gentleman, generous man.
You
All
know,
right, I'm going to switch him over to Keith here.
I'm eating pie. I don't want to talk to him.
Before I switch you over here, how about an open-ended question for you, Greg? How's business?
Business is really good. We're going to get into that. We turned out to have a really good year, but we have just reshuffled things around a little bit. It doesn't. I guess you guys probably talk about it all the time. But fall is spring, etc. The market is still vibrant, and normally this is the time of year people start telling their clients to wait till the next year to sell their house, but not now. There's still people come to the market that want to take a shot at things, because if you're in the right segment of the market, there absolutely may be buyers waiting for your home.
Before we get into, hey Greg, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Want some pie?
Good.
Want some
good.
pie? I'll run some.
Yes,
I'll tell you what. I'll run some out there. You grab a pint of vanilla. I'll grab a couple of slices, and we'll have a good time there.
This is amazing.
It's too bad you're still doing this. I would have delivered the ice cream if you had pie in there for sure.
There you go. Well, we want to wait until COVID is over before we start doing this. But wasn't on our list of questions. But I actually had a client ask me a question yesterday, a buyer client. And it's kind of going to dovetail into the back end of it is they were saying, what do you think? Should we wait until the beginning of the year until the inventory gets a little bit better? What do you think about that question?
Ooh, that's a good question.
A buyer client asked you that?
Buyer client.
Yeah, so I would tell that client, you obviously, once you're have the momentum to make a purchase, you got to get engaged with the market, whether you're going to pull the trigger now or not. I would say just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. I tell my clients often when they're, maybe they're not seeing what they want, it gets a little frustrating. Back 6 months and show them what they might have seen if they'd have been in the market at a different time, just for inspiration. Say, be patient, because when they make the decision to write a contract, I don't want it to be, gosh, we're done with the search, let's just buy something. I want it to be, this is the house, and we're high-fiving when it's ratified. So you just got to keep playing the game until the stars align and something happens.
And that's
phenomenal.
And that's literally the answer I gave. Not quite exact verbatim, but it was the same situation. They were on their 4th house they lost. Get a little frustrated. I literally did the same thing. I said, look, look back a couple of months. I didn't go back 6. I went back 3. But great answer. So, hey, the reason you are here, my friend, is to talk new construction, because you are the guru in new construction.
The guru.
No, without a doubt. And so I'm going to shut up and get out of the way and let you talk a little bit about what you're seeing the new construction currently is, and then what you think the future is going to be in 2021.
Sure. I've been thinking about this for the last 48 hours. I appreciate you guys inviting me on to make me have this conversation, because we all get stuck in our ruts of what I look at, because I look at very specific stuff for very specific clients. So it's maybe a little bit different conversation than we want to have today. But in the midst of all that, as I thought I came up with like 6 things. What do you have to watch to understand the new construction market, and how do you use the new construction market to predict what the rest of the market is going to be? Because I've always found the new home market to be a nice barometer on activity in the world. And if you understand that first, it'll help you gain more insight to the market in general and the values. But what are we going to follow if we want to know what's going on? First, we have to, on a very high level, and the hardest thing to follow is following the land, right? We have to look ahead. We have to look at all the big communities and see what types of lots are out there, and what the builders are able to build, and then where the next deals are coming. To zoom in on Crozet, for example, we're nearing the end of the half-acre lot.
Wow.
And I'm not sure when there'll be more. There are 130 lots at Westlake. They're down to less than 20. And the only other thing I know of is about 10 half-acre lots in the back of Creekside that will come someday, and they will have a huge price tag on them. So if you're focused on Crozet and half-acre lots and you want new construction, honestly, anywhere in Albemarle County, right? There's a few at Pantops, and I'm not sure where those are coming. Big Commerce, North Point. Who's going in there and what are they going to build? It's a big conversation. When we start looking at the stats, Well, before we get into the stats, I want to share with you. I think the next thing you got to follow the price points, right? In Albemarle County, the blended median for new home sales this year is $450,000. If you split it out, detached and attached, it's $600K on the detached side and $373 on the attached side. But if you look at the two hottest segments of our market for new construction, we're going to talk about Fluvanna and Louisa. They're both under $290. So very different things going on with median price point there. I think you have to follow the big builders to know what's going on in the market.
Which ones?
Well, it's by size, really. I've always followed for years our big production builders, Ryan, Stanley, Southern, Craig. And to give you just kind of barometer how I look at things, in 2012, they represented 81% of the sales in our market. Right now in 2020, they are 70% of sales. So I look at those four guys, what they're each doing, but what market share they have, because as the market gets healthier, their market share goes down because we have more smaller builders in the market. And one of the things I noticed running through these numbers this week is the fifth largest builder in our market, or maybe he's in the top four. They're in the top four. Do you guess who that is, Mr. Smith?
I can guess.
It's either Atlantic.
Go ahead.
It's either Atlantic or I don't know.
It's Liberty.
Liberty. Got
Liberty
it.
has sold 66 homes this year. I don't know how many Atlantic sold. I don't think they're quite up to that level yet. I don't look at Waynesboro. I have no idea what the Waynesboro is kind of the part of the new construction market I just haven't gotten to, because nobody I'm doing business with is doing business in Waynesboro to figure that out.
But we need to start changing that, because I see some trends going on the other side of the mountain. But go ahead.
My whole age group is going over there.
Yeah, so we have to follow the interest rates. You know, if we're going to have any conversation about the future, we have to follow the interest rates. Interest rates are really fueling things right now, and as long as they stay around 3%, that's not going to give us any trouble. We have to follow the resale inventory. The new home market is directly related to what options people have in the marketplace, and the conditions couldn't be better for the builders right now in that regard.
Because you're saying inventory is so pinched?
Inventory is so pinched, and I'll quantify that for you a little bit. My last point is, once we look at all those five things, we have to estimate demand at the end of the day. Is what we're trying to do to predict the future is understand demand. And I've been pulling these COVID stats and the impact on Albemarle County. You know, Albemarle County on the new home side, I look at Albemarle, Charlottesville, Fluvanna, Greene, and Louisa. Albemarle County is 72% of that market. So when I focus on this COVID stuff for Albemarle, what you'll see today through the end of October is we literally caught up. We stopped all the activity in March. We caught up. We're dead heat within one contract at the end of October for how many contracts were written last year in Albemarle County. But we're 300 listings behind.
That's exactly right.
But what's more interesting is on March 13th, when the schools were shut down and I started doing this, we were trending contracts 12% ahead of last year's pace.
So people have no confidence to list their homes.
No. There's just no inventory. Is it
that why? Because people don't have confidence to have people in their homes?
I'll let him answer.
It was brief. We interrupted the market. Everybody's story is different. Putting your home on the market is no joke. You need a reason to sell, and you need to know where you're going. Some people aren't selling right now because they're figuring out they have no place to go.
That's exactly the reason.
They're stuck on the carousel, they want to go someplace else, but it's very difficult. So until you find that, you might not put your home on the market. Then you got the schools and everything disrupted, and it just becomes an individual conversation. But so back on March 13th, we were 12% ahead on contracts, and we were dead heat for listings. We pushed listings down 300, But my point is, if we'd have stayed on that 12% pace, we'd have another 200 sales in Albemarle County this year.
That's exactly right.
And if you look at that 300 listings we're missing, if we'd have got another 200 listings, we would have got another 200 sales. So we weren't able to absorb all the demand in the marketplace this year. And so that's definitely going to spill over into the first quarter of next year. And the whole thing will come down to whether or not there's going to be stuff for people to buy.
So the other thing is that a couple of years ago, folks would stay in their house for between 6 to 7 years, and now they're staying in their houses between 8 to 9 years. So they're staying a little bit longer in their homes. And it's flat out just a lack of inventory. But that lack of inventory is helping the new construction, and I think COVID is helping the new construction a little bit because you can kind of get what you want going in, right? I can set up a little bit different Wi-Fi within the house, but you pretty much hit what we've been talking about on the show.
Awesome. That was a great
all the
take.
time. It always is. So where that's a great 6 points, but where are we going?
Yeah, we're going forward. I mean, we're gonna. This sales game is hand-to-hand combat, right? It's where a buyer can meet a seller, boom, and a transaction happens. I really think this is going to hinge on in the next 6 months on inventory. Everything else is in the right place. To keep it on new construction a little bit there. The only headwind to new construction this year has been the cost of materials.
That's exactly right.
There's upward pressure on price, cause upward pressure on land values. As sales go up, builders are going to have to charge more for these homes because they cost more to build and they're taking longer to get them. I know you guys have covered that on this show. But the most interesting stats I saw when I usually don't get too deep into these other localities because some of the builders I work with just build in Albemarle County or maybe other places. But when you follow the big builders and the price points in the localities, look, Fluvanna County is up 83% new home sales this year. And Greene County is down 55%. And that one builder caused that, right? A community ended in Greene County, and they took the sales community in Fluvanna, and that was a big part of it. But I was interested to see how many sales are happening in Lake Monticello, and that's when I figured out how Liberty had sold so many homes this year. When I looked through the Fluvanna sales, I was surprised to see so much new construction in Lake Monticello, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, compared to what it used to be, it's minuscule, right? As you well know. But we talk about this on the show all the time. The periphery is going to start growing, right? You're going to see Fluvanna growing. I happen to know there's this project that I'm involved with is going to end up being another 235 residential units, new construction. So that's going to grow. Zion's Crossroads is going to grow. I think, Greg, we need to start really looking pretty heavily on the other side of the mountain. Matter of fact, that one of the hats that I wear as the Regional Housing Partnership Chair, we're going to have a meeting later on this afternoon to try to bring in some folks from the other side of the mountain because there's so much traffic now for sales and housing data that's being affected by the other side of the mountain.
We're starting to see it in the numbers. So if you look at that, all those areas, we're just 5% up in new home contracts this year over year. It's not a huge number, but if you break it down, Albemarle's actually down 8%. The city's down 15%. There's obviously no place to go build in the city. But Fluvanna's up 83%. Louise is up 100%. And Greene, because of that one community ending, is down 55%. So I find that all to be very interesting.
So where my little developer builder brain starts thinking about it, the stat that you said about where you're almost out of half-acre lots, that's what's driving this out, right? COVID, I want more room.
Yeah, backyard for the kids.
Right, so it's going to and as long as the 3%, 4% mortgage rate kind of hangs around, which everybody says is going to last for quite some time.
And the fuel. But I think you answered that question. Yeah, the electric vehicles.
I think absolutely. If fuel jumps up, that was a genius statement. I never realized it until you said it. So I think new construction is going to be hot. I think it's going to continue to be hot. I think this COVID has kind of driven that quite a bit. But go back to the comment about if I'm trying to sell a house, where am I going to go? Yeah. New construction helps solve that problem. Right? Because it's a 4-month turnaround, a 6-month turnaround, or later, depending on what it is.
That was such a good point. That's what it is. He's 100% right.
Yep.
As if I get top dollar for my home now, and everyone sees you can get top dollar for your home, where are you going to go to?
Yeah. So unless you're going to Florida or whatever, that's what
so the other, and so that's what the other side of that thing is with the builders are absolutely the solution when the inventory. But where are we in our capacity to create new homes in this market? Next year we're going to learn about. Our subcontractors they're all fighting over the same subs to build homes. There's a capacity issue going on that's exclusive to the future inventory of lots issue. We'll have another builder coming into this market next year that might grow this. So I look back at historically where we were, and we have to take it with a grain of salt because before we got on the MLS we're on, new construction wasn't a required field. So I don't, before 2012 or 13, I don't rely on the stats quite as heavily
exactly right.
as I do now. But to give you we've written 698 contracts and new home contracts in this area this year. In 2012, that number was 350. But in 2005, which was the high water mark in our, since I've been around, I guess it's the high water mark period, it was 629. So we've exceeded, if that number in 2005 is right, I'd say we're about to where the most ever produced on an annual basis. I think we're back there.
I was going to say,
how
I think
higher could it go?
I'm saying we're at the high level mark, I think, at the point. But you're spot on. We talked about this in a previous show. Everybody was all worried about lumber prices going up. Look, lumber does this. It's always done this, right? And but the real thing is in my opinion, the qualified subcontractors, the skilled workers, right? We're just not produced. Our system is not producing plumbers, electricians, skilled framers, skilled craftsmen or craftspeople to go ahead and do that. That I think is going to have a bigger drag on it. But look, I think what on the CAAR report, which I couldn't print out because our system was down again yesterday.
Who's the new builder he was talking about that's coming into the market?
Oh, I don't think he's going to say.
Can you say who that is, Greg?
I think so, but you know what? I was emailing him this morning. I was thinking we got to get him on your show.
Well, I'd love to get him on the show, but do you want to share that information?
No.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
I think it's public, but I don't want to share it at this time.
Let him do that.
It's his news to get.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. So it's once it gets announced, everybody's going to understand who and all that great stuff. So the reality of it is we have, I think in Fulvana County, 1.2 months of inventory in Fulvana County. That's ridiculous.
The whole region is down, 47%?
That's exactly right.
For Q3 219 over 2020?
That's exactly right. But the thing that I personally track is that absorption rate, right? How many units are we've got left to sell? And 1.1, that's just crazy. When 1.1 months, excuse me. I think Charlottesville is at 1, a little bit below 1. I think Albemarle County is around 2 months of inventory, somewhere along those lines. But I'll ask this question to you, Greg. Where do you think balance is as far as months on the market? Is it 90 days, 4 months?
You mean for
worth
the
of
absorption
inventory?
rate?
Yeah.
Look, in a healthy market, I think it's fairly short if you price your home right. It should sell in 30 to 60 days. But look, I decide. Are you talking about months of inventory?
That's exactly. I'm talking about months of inventory.
6 months is what they traditionally say. I've never really thought about it. I don't know. It all depends on what the rate of sales is.
That's exactly right.
And
That's what I'm talking about, this absorption rate. When you get this absorption rate. And the reason I wanted to describe it is that if pendings are coming off faster than coming on, it's just going to keep that pressure going up. So where actives are starting to catch up to pendings, it kind of makes it a little bit, and that was kind of the answer I gave to my client who wanted to wait. I said, pretty much, look, if you're ready to do it, and if you fell in love with something, let's do this. And that's what we ultimately did. So
this question's coming in for both of you. How about selling the home for top dollar and then taking a year rental so that the inventory picks up and you have more options to choose? And then the second part of the question is, or renovating current home and staying in it longer. How about that for Slater? 2 questions there for you, Greg.
Good.
Question 1: who wants to move twice?
Well said.
It's fun to talk about these things as you think about putting all your stuff on a truck and moving it with the dogs, the cats, the kids.
That's true.
The school systems. It's just yeah.
Well, it's not only moving twice, Greg. It's the expense of moving twice.
Well, it's just a pain in the.
And it's the expense of the transaction. I think people are more interested these days in. Look, there's homes and houses. Houses, you can make money on. Homes are something that has a different level, different type of value to it, and all the stuff that comes with it. And so, if you like where you live, it is a fine time to be investing in doing some renovations. And all these homes, when they get to be about 15 to 20 years old, are stylistically mostly kaput and need some level of cosmetic changeovers. But even if it's not on the investing in the cosmetic or the stylistic form of your house, at that age, you rev your home from a maintenance standpoint. I mean, it'll help your value long term, and I think that's part of it feeds back into what's been going on during COVID. People have refocused on improving where they're staying, and even if it's just deferred maintenance catch up.
So you're 100% right. We talked about that on Tuesday, actually, about, let's get you deferred maintenance taken care of, replace your heat pumps, your roofing, that kind of stuff. But here's the reality of it Jerry, from a renovation perspective. You think new construction is hard to find somebody to work on it? Now, you could do Interstate Pest and Service Company. They're great folks, and they'll help you through that. But they can't do everything, right? So it's an overall struggle on trying. It's harder to find a renovator to come in and take care of that. I want to kind of change gears a little bit, but before I do that, give me a quick crystal ball on 2021. You think it's going to stay as strong as 2020?
Absolutely, strong as 2020, and I think the sales pace will, unless there's a bunch of listings out there, a bunch of inventory that turns over, the sales pace is going to be held back a little bit. Though. So I think it'll be pretty consistent. So you got to be deliberate and focused on what you want to achieve personally and make good decisions for you and kind of box out some of all this rhetoric that might make you want to sell your house and go rent for a year because you're going to make so much money. I'm afraid by the time that year's up and you get back on the home ownership game, you won't have gained that much.
Well, I mean, just the brain damage of moving twice, unless you're...
Yeah. That's brutal.
All you got to do, next Tuesday is the Marine Corps birthday. We're going to celebrate the Marine Corps birthday and talk to a bunch of Marines. But if you ever talk to anybody who spent any time in the military, they hate moving, literally hate it. Because these guys move every 2 or 4 years, and you just... there's a couple of very close friends that we helped, Marine buddies of mine that moved here permanently, and their first thing in their mouth was, "Thank God I don't got to move no more." Right? It's a pain in the ass, literally.
What are you all these brokers you have on there? Who thinks interest rates are going up next year?
Nobody.
I don't think anyone thinks that.
Right.
Not even anybody, but if you read all the data, that's not going to happen. I do want to talk a little land trust, but do we have any other questions on the feed for?
We do. I mean, the questions we have on the feed have been covered here by Greg. Greg covered a lot of stuff. We should get land trust before we get to Quinton at 10:47, right?
Got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Keep me on track, brother.
I'm trying.
Keep me on track. We got pie to give away, though.
We do.
We'll do that at the back end of the show. So, land trust, right? We got to talk a little bit about it. My
Christopher's coming on today on our show.
Bring it.
Yeah, to talk about the land trust.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, he to give him a shout out, we could not have done what we did on Nassau.
Oh, he was giving both of you guys props when we were setting it up.
So, Mr. Vice Chair, I'm going to let you chime in a little bit, and then I'll follow you.
Well, first, everyone listening to the show needs to know the tremendous job you have done with the land trust since you took over chairmanship. I mean, it was the perfect synergy of everything else you're doing in the world. And the amount of time and energy you put into this topic in general is impressive.
Thank you.
And the land trust has only benefited from it. So that's the biggest thank you I need to give out there in the world. Because I've watched, we went into hyperspeed when you showed up, right? Yeah, well, we got out of the
It was
Toyota,
timing, brother. That's all it was. It wasn't, I didn't do anything special.
That was very nice, Greg.
All right, I'll get you a piece of, all right, I'll get you a pie, okay?
That was very nice.
I think. We got a place out here in Crozet called Cutie Pies. They make little pies.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, cool.
So, the second thank you I want to give is we're in fundraising mode right now. We're going to play some poker in a week or so.
It's Sunday. It's Sunday, brother.
Oh, yeah, Sunday. Anyway, so
you better get some cash put together, my friend.
Monopoly game. We got a $5,000 grant from Fulton Bank, Fulton Mortgage yesterday, and they were tremendous partners in the Nassau project, and whether both from the lending side for our construction and the mortgages for our homeowners. So they're going to continue to be a partner. So if you're doing anything in affordable housing world, whether it's land trust related or not, working with a buyer that is, Julia Roberts over there really understands the math and understands the language to work with down payment and pH, and it really helps to have a lender that understands how this all gets tied together. And so they gave us another $5,000 that went to Team Monticello, and
so everybody knows there's teams, and everybody's got to raise
neighborhoods.
Have to raise money.
It's all good. It's nice that the communities, Nassau Street put us on the map. Your show continues to keep us on the map, and the response is just fun for a guy like me to experience now and watch it grow.
Well, I'm excited about the next level that we're going to go to, Greg, right? This whole partnership or merger with PH. And that's really, we've set up all the tools, we set up all the systems, what Jerry's doing for us and promoting us and our teams going forward. But, we need this partner to grow, and we're excited about it. And I think this time next year, we're going to be able to let you know we got a ton more projects going in the ground. So I just wanted to give you a shout out too, brother, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this, and we wouldn't get it. So give yourself a little bit of kudos, buddy.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys letting me come on here and.
Greg, you're great, man. Slater, Greg. You are legit. You are made for a format like this. Your first take, that first 3 minutes was like off Sports Center. It was bona fide.
I'm looking at the screen going, I got to face your radio.
No way.
Actually, he does. Don't lie to him. Don't lie to him.
He just gave you props. Leave
Don't
the
lie.
man alone.
I can't let him get away that easy, right?
It's all right. It's all good.
Hey, Greg. Greg, man, I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you do.
I'll talk to you offline.
See you later, brother.
All right.
Thanks, man.
You have a good one. Crozet Creamery. We're going to hype Crozet Creamery next week.
We're going to get you hooked up.
Okay,
hey, how about a sponsorship?
All right, man. See you.
All ABC in right there.
How about a sponsorship,
Always
Greg?
be closing. Quinton Beckham, we're going to go to you here in 45 seconds. 45 seconds for Quinton Beckham if you're watching. Greg Slater's first take, oh my gosh. Where his outline, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Backed it up with numbers, and it was legit.
It's just a good human being.
How about that half-acre stack?
It's funny. I wrote that and circled it in the beginning because intuitively I knew that was going on, but until he said it, it really didn't sink home. But that's exactly what's going on.
You know who the new builder is that's entering the market.
Of course I do.
I know you do. Am I gonna pull that out of you?
You are not.
I'm itching to know who the new builder is.
I wouldn't do that.
I know you wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. Should we get?
But we will bring him on though.
Yeah, we should.
If he wants to make his announcement on our show.
A big time builder?
Could be.
Okay. There you go. I mean, you got the Smith smirk on your face. I've been alongside you long enough to know what that means. So I'm reaching out to Quinton. Judah, I'm reaching out.
Good. I'm going to eat pie.
Of Keller Williams. This is going to be good. Quinton offers legit ammunition as well. Quinton, we have you on the line. Judah is giving me the green light. I'm going to pass you over to Keith.
No, I'm eating pie.
He's eating pie. I'm going to pass him over here. Before I pass you over here, what'd you make of the interview with Greg Slater? What struck you from some of the numbers and the perspective that Greg was sharing?
I just think that new construction is super important to what comes ahead for us in 2021. And he's right on the mark. I have nothing to disagree with. And I don't want to be teased with pie.
Quinton.
I know. Why are you going to do that?
Pie chest.
That's the kind of guy I am.
Give the show a like and a share if you want to get in the running for a free pie from the Pie Chest. Let's talk shop.
Hold. Not only would I tease you with the pie, but I also would offer you a bike ride with me this afternoon, too, if you've got time. But you're working, Mr. President, so,
It's been a busy month, yes.
So thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for doing that. We had a conversation earlier this morning that you did tell me you were going to put a collared shirt on, and you actually did. Look at that, buddy.
I did. Maybe later I'll button it.
Quinton.
Good for you, man. So, what the local new construction market. I mean, do you have anything to add what Greg said, or he's pretty much spot on?
Yeah, I just think we've been talking about it for a while, and it was a big part of our conversation with Lisa Stoddard-Vant,
yes,
the Virginia Realtors economist that I love having conversations with. The one of the issues that we're seeing, and you touched on it, is that a lack of inventory promotes a lack of inventory, because to create inventory, people need a place to go. And so it becomes its own spiral. And the best way out of that is new construction, because it creates options that don't require a move, so that people have a place to go so that they can list their house on the market. And so I am heartened by the fact that when you look at new home permits in the quarterly report, they are up.
Yeah,
that's good.
The application for permits in both single family as well as multifamily are up. It's heavy towards single family.
Sure.
We've had a lot more multifamily over the last 24 months. So it's heavy towards single family, but that's really what we're needing. That's where the demand lies. And so I think if we can get those online in conjunction with the low mortgage rates, which everybody expects to continue well into 2021.
Do you actually believe that?
That the mortgage rates are going to stay down?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I would agree.
I
mean, I've never in 30-something years, right? And I know you've been doing this a long time too. I've never heard that before. I've never heard anybody say we're projecting mortgage rates to be a certain for an extended period of time.
Well, they have to.
You?
To backstop what's going on. We have vulnerability in the economy. Why would they uptick rates when the economy is still very vulnerable and precarious? Why would they do that?
And I don't disagree with any of that, gentlemen, but have you ever heard that before, Quinton? Have anybody ever said, oh, by the way, we're pretty sure interest rates are going to be good for 12 months?
Well, the interesting part of being us in the world right now is the changes in our crystal ball.
Sure.
So the more global we get, the better our length of view gets. The more local you get, the shorter it gets right now. So when we're talking big macro issues like mortgage rates, yeah, I have a really good feel for a long-term view that they're going to stay down.
I agree, without a doubt. I agree. So we think 2021 is going to be a great year, right? Regardless of how things happen. Do you think it's going to stay as strong as 2020, or do you think it might pivot a little bit, or what's your crystal ball? And you won't be able to see this, but I've got a little meme, Judah, if you can put that up of a crystal ball. It's a funny little thing I found in it. Unless you've got a second monitor watching the show, there's this little meme.
Quinton's crystal ball. That should be a segment right there.
Quinton,
Yeah.
boy.
Quinton's crystal ball.
I can't even say it.
It's good.
I think that all things being equal, we're going to see a really good 2021. The big limiting factor
Inventory
is going to be inventory. As we go through the report, as you read through the third quarter report, inventory is doing two things. One, it's keeping houses off the market because homeowners don't have a place to go. It's also jumping prices dramatically. As you go through our reports, our days on market actually went up. And the two areas that had a greater than 10% price increase also saw a decrease in the number of transactions.
Wow.
Not enough data to say that those are directly related, but it certainly fits my opinion, so I'm going to point it out.
Because I'm right.
Because we all know that the reduction in mortgage rates does a lot towards your buying power. And so when you see mortgage rates come down and prices go up, has a leveling effect.
So he's basically saying mortgage rates allow you to cover more overhead every month. But they could be counterbalanced with the fact that real estate values have upticked 7% in our area year over year. That's basically what you're saying, right?
Exactly right. So one of the reasons I keep on using this terminology or this explanation, and maybe it's wrong, and Quinton, correct me if I am, even though it's a seller's market right now, right? And in a kind of a way, it's a buyer's market, because as long as that interest rate is low, the buyers are in there and doing it. So I think it kind of levels things off a little bit, but that's just my take on it. Does that make any sense to you, Quinton?
It does level things off, but because we are already so low, there's not much room left on that dial. So when you see a 10% jump in prices, we don't have a room to counter that on the dial.
Right.
So I think you're going to see some of that start to balance out, and some pushback, because even though inventory is low and it keeps people from putting their homes on the market, there are still people that must move. So you're always going to have a certain number of homes on the market because people must move. Their lives dictate it.
Sure.
And
how much of the inventory push is tied to people moving to this area from outside the market with big bags of money, Quinton?
Great question.
We're seeing a fair amount of that.
Yeah.
Interestingly, we're getting more out-of-area buyers, but we're getting fewer out-of-state buyers.
So Northern Virginia?
Northern Virginia, where they're moving out of their Reston house, where they can pass a cup of coffee through the window to their neighbor.
Right.
The sale price for that home is still very strong.
Right.
And then they are coming down here with that money to purchase a home with a few acres of land, maybe a pool, a better home office setup, and they're being allowed to work remotely because a lot of industries have embraced that, and I think will continue to do so once COVID ceases to be an issue.
That is literally everything we predicted on this show.
That's exactly right.
Is that not right?
That's exactly right.
Like literally everything that we thought was going to happen. So they're basically selling like $1 million townhome in Northern Virginia. They're coming down to Charlottesville in Central Virginia. They're basically saying, "Oh my gosh, look what I can get for all this money." And they're taking it to top dollar, and that's causing the pinch in inventory.
So I think the inventory is going to get even pinched more in
Oh,
2021 for this very reason.
consumer confidence will uptick, so people will do it.
Totally got that, but I'm talking about the impact of the Northeast coming down here. So
Out of state.
out of state, I think you're going to start seeing that uptick in 2021 because my connections back in New York. That's what they're doing. They're trying to get out of there. This is very much so 1980s, 1990s when we started building houses in '87. That's a majority of our contracts. Yankees.
Yankees.
Right? So what's the difference between a Yankee and a damn Yankee?
One won't leave.
One won't leave. That's exactly right.
I spent too much time with you.
One won't leave. So I think you're going to start seeing even more pressure than that. I think you're going to see pressure coming from the Nova market, and I think you're going to see pressure coming from some of these larger metro areas. And I think that's the question for you, Quinton. Are you seeing this trend going to continue from urban moving out to rural or semi-rural or suburban, whatever you want to call it? You see that trend moving along?
I think it's going to continue. Yeah, I think it's going to continue. I don't believe anything in cities is going to absolutely die. Yeah. But all of this pressure into cities has been reversed.
Yeah.
And it's less of an issue for commercial. You have people that need less commercial space because they're going virtual, but the folks that must have commercial space need more distance.
Right.
Feels like that's balancing out, but there are the jobs that can be permanently virtual tend to be jobs that bring a better wage.
Sure.
We have great permits going in for new construction. So what are our other limiting factors? Our other limiting factors are the ability to afford the price, the cost of materials upping that price, and the lack of skilled labor to get the homes ready for occupancy in pace with the market.
Well said.
So I think you're going to see the lack of skilled labor impact new construction much more than material and land. That's just my prediction.
You're saying slowing it down.
I think it's going to slow it down even more.
It's slowing it down, and it's upping the price because if you're the one dude that can...
You can charge top dollar.
If you're the one dude that knows how to put up crown molding, and you could have retired 2 years ago, but there's so much demand and money to be made, you have a choice about how much you charge, and there's less option to push you down.
And the builder's passing that on to the customer.
I talk about this all the time. My little brother, that's what he does.
They don't have any choice but to pass.
Of course, that's the business.
But then the low interest rate is helping folks afford that. Is kind of what I was trying to explain earlier. But my little brother, right? He's a master trim carpenter up in Richmond. I call him Doctor. I talk about him all the time on the show. Shows up with his little set of tools. He was by himself. The guy's booked forever.
You touched on something that I want to unpack a little bit more. Sure. Yes, the low interest rate is helping them afford it, but all of the inventory pressures that are upping the price of resale are also upping the price of new construction. And so it's not really a double whammy. I don't want to make it sound bad, but I think materials and labor costs are almost being absorbed, but then you still have the price pressure.
Yeah, sure. New construction gets hit a little bit harder on the upward pressure or the lack of inventory, without a doubt. It has an extra component to it that resales won't have. That's the reason why resales are chumming, right? Because there's that one component that's not there.
And I think one thing we're not covering is the impact that our sponsor, Dairy Market and Dairy Central, is going to have on the area. They're bringing in Dexcom and a couple big-time employers here soon to open. When these people come to market, that's more top-dollar people purchasing up inventory. That's all co-construct.
That's exactly
expanding its job force. Co-construct paying top dollar. All these job forces expanding Q1, Q2. We're talking big-time salary jobs here looking for inventory to purchase.
And I think that's exactly what Quinton's trying to predict. Is that correct?
I think the way we're talking about a K-shaped recovery, the way a K-shaped recovery works, the people that have the greatest ability to move also have the greatest impetus to move. And that's going to support us for a while.
So you're basically saying, Quinton, you expect a number of people that are wealthy and have high dollar jobs moving to this area because they can work virtually from some big time employers. And when these new wealthy people with high dollar jobs move to this area and work virtually, they're going to bring disposable income and purchasing power to drive the economy in 2021. Is that what you're saying?
That is my hope, yes. And where I hope that helps us narrow this bandwidth of the people that are being left out of the recovery is they're going to need services. They're going to support in a way that our current population doesn't. Hopefully they will support things that will return jobs at an even faster rate to our local area.
He's talking closing that wealth gap and this not turning into a rich playground.
Well, to be honest with you, that's why I put so much time and energy
affordability
in the affordable housing space and the land trust and the regional housing partnership. I'm a huge believer of the land trust, obviously, because I chair it and I put a lot of time into it. But that is one of the great things about the land trust, because you can have one house here that is affordable and one house here that is not, but they're exactly the same homes, and that's how you kind of get that balance going on a little bit on that. I'm gonna change gears a little bit on you, buddy. You're about ready. Are you officially the president? When do you actually get seated of CAAR? Not the one that they're arguing about right now. I'm talking about actually, I appreciate it if you would take that over and fix it, but the one for CAAR, if you don't mind.
I was going to say, I would like to say how happy I am that I'm not having to have any lawsuits for this.
There you go. Well, I don't know. Keep on talking.
Chad,
maybe I might.
We're going to challenge that vote.
Who knows? I don't know. There's a lawyer right down the hall. Let me see what I can do.
Now that you mention it, CAAR only voted. Well, no, wait. They voted on me last year. No, I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. It's the other ones, right? We had trouble getting a quorum, didn't we? So, Mr. President, your incoming president, 2021, we just talked about how we think the market is going to continue along. What is your vision and goals, Mr. President, for the Charlottesville Association of Realtors in 2021? Here's your opportunity to we'll cut it into a sizzle reel.
I think I have 3 umbrella topics.
I'm sorry, we got to go. See you later.
I got 3 topics that I want to focus on as the incoming president for 21. And the first one was started by our current president, Tom Woolfolk, and that's a continuing raising of the bar for professionalism and education and skill set.
There you go.
We had one of the best calendars for the year for in-service topics, educational topics, and certifications. And COVID really impacted that. We did figure out a way around COVID like everybody else did, but I want to see that continue into the new year. The challenges and the needs in the market are not becoming less complex, and it is incumbent on us as realtors in our fiduciary and in the association in service to our community to stay ahead of that curve. The questions are going to get harder, the math is going to get harder, and we need to be smarter. And so that I want to see that continue. The second thing that I really want us to embrace as the association in a really active way is the issues of social and racial equity. It's a super important topic in our community. And when you talk about the wealth gap and homeownership and what that does for communities, we are uniquely set up to have an impact on that and try to move that ball forward.
How so? How so?
The vast majority, if you compare a person of color to somebody who's white, an African American, somebody who's white, they have 60% of the income. So, Jerry, if you make $1, a person of color makes 60 cents. But when we look at wealth, they're at 10%. And a lot of that has to do with housing over generations. Because generationally, we build up wealth through homeownership. It funds education for our kids. It builds up equity in a home. It provides options that we would not have if we did not own the home year after year, decade after decade, generation after generation. And so I think understanding that and knowing how central we are to being educators, to being counselors and applying wisdom and experience to these problems, I think we have a unique opportunity to be a part of moving that forward in conjunction with a lot of other ways and using the influence we have as an association as well as through our political action committee.
So I'm going to jump in here for a second. So
I saw your finger go up, so
I just wanted to let you know this venue, this space is yours to help do that. This is one of the visions that I had.
We're all passionate about that here.
We're all passionate about this here. This is one of the visions Jerry and I had a couple of years ago when we started this thing, is to raise this equity, this wealth gap, and kind of reduce the wealth gap. And I've been working on a rent to own show where we talk about, look, a normal renter is somewhere around $5,000 worth of wealth, right? Where somebody who owns it nationwide is a couple $100,000. I can't remember the exact number on it, and then that's the other reason why we're so passionate here, and you are, and I am, and my wife is, Yonna is, about affordable housing and the land trust, because that is the best path towards generational wealth, right? It's just not one deep. It's generational wealth. So you have us. We're here. We're going to partner with you to get this done, Mr. President, and we will keep it going. I'll let you get to number 3.
Well, number 3 is tied into both of the other two, and that's affordable housing. Affordable housing is a cornerstone of keeping economic growth going, and moving the entire flywheel of the local economy forward. Because if you do not have affordable housing, you cannot group people in such a way that they support local businesses.
Right, exactly.
Again, one of the reasons I'm so passionate about the land trust, it helps curb or slow down or potentially reverse gentrification.
Yeah. That's the best way. That's literally the best way I see.
Yeah.
Because if you have little inventory, you have housing prices going up 7% year over year, housing value 7% year over year,
exactly right.
And you have new people coming in from big cities with bags of money, we're at a very critical crossroads here.
So the problem with the affordable, you don't mind if I jump in on this, Quinton, do you?
No.
So the problem with the affordable housing thing, and that's the reason why this partnership or this merger with PH, from my perspective, is so good, is because we're going to get access to huge tranches of capital, or potentially huge tranches of capital. Because what's going to happen here is this affordable housing discussion we're having, the best path forward is for the land trust. Quinton has a home on 10th Street or something like this that's for sale. Well, if we got the capital, we can compete with the market and go and buy it. Then we remove the land that portion out of it, then we can resell it at $100,000.
The land trust model can work if it's buying properties at market value?
Yeah, sure, as long as we got the capital to do it. So what would happen is Quinton has a house on 10th Street, whatever, right? Say it's $400,000, $450,000, just simple math. Let's call it $400,000, right? If we had that capital, we would buy that capital.
You say the land's $150.
We take
House
we
$250.
take $150 out of it, and then we put the house back on the market
For $250.
For $250.
And then you give somebody an opportunity to buy something $150 below market.
$150, probably about about $100,000 is probably what
Below market.
Interesting. Yeah. So that's part of our path forward on that.
And I think this is a complex enough problem. I don't want to sound like I know how to fix this. This is going to require a lot of effort from a lot of smart people from a lot of different angles to make a good impact. And we're not going to fix it in a year, but I would love to see that ball start rolling and us keep adding to that momentum.
That needle needs to move.
we want to move that needle in a way that is appreciable and recognizable.
So, well, then the other things I'm super passionate about is the Regional Housing Partnership, and that's exactly what you're talking about. We have the 4 pillars of affordable housing or housing here. We've got the local governments, we've got all the nonprofits, we've got all the private sectors, to include UVA, which is the 10-ton elephant in the room, right?
Yeah.
And then we've got the people who we serve at the table, and we're moving that needle forward. We're actually going to expand it out to the other side of the mountain, because that market is starting to impact this market and vice versa, and we need to start looking at that too.
And I think too, we have to form partnerships with organizations that have influence,
Sure.
because influence has a lot to do with this. Money helps, but sometimes people with too much money want to keep that money, and so you have to combine those things with those folks that have some sort of influence to move things forward.
You know, being able to sit down and have a cup of coffee with a planning district commissioner or a chair of a board or chair of a board of supervisors, and then have a cup of coffee with a developer, that's the skill set. Not to toot my own horn a little bit, but that's something I'm pretty good at. So I'm here to help. I've been here to help. We will help. This network, our show is, I can't speak for Jerry's network, but for my show, we're going to always be here to help move that needle forward. I do want to go back to the Zoom thing and the education. Are you seeing the number of people attending education increasing via Zoom? In other words, is Zoom helping the education component of CAAR?
Question.
I do believe we have a greater ability to get numbers in. I'm not so sure we have focus.
Got it.
And there is such a thing as Zoom fatigue.
Of course. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And so, you know, it's totally feasible to sit down in person with lunch and do an 8-hour course.
Yeah, totally.
In a room with a bunch of other people, one day, knock it out. To try and do that on Zoom is just torture.
Yeah.
So it's like anything. It's a tool, right?
It's like being forced to spend the day with you guys in costumes.
How
about this? It's like physical education.
He's just jealous. He was just jealous he wasn't invited.
It's like PE class via Zoom.
Say that again?
It's like PE class via Zoom.
Well, it's funny.
That's what the kids are doing. They're doing PE class via Zoom.
I literally, my daughter out in Seattle FaceTimed me yesterday afternoon, and I go, oh, geez, you know, aren't you in class? She goes, no, these are kindergarten.
Recess.
They're at PE.
Yeah.
These are 5-year-old kids. How does that work?
You know what's happening? They're sitting in a chair in their living room, and they're said, grab a ball, throw it back and forth from hand to hand in your chair.
Well,
that's what's happening.
Yeah, hats off to, I do want to take a minute and plug out the educators out there. They need to get a little kudos.
Absolutely.
They're
Heroes.
Unbelievable, the medical profession, absolutely, and I know that's your background, Quinton, and thank you for being in that background, but these educators are just, and I just know this firsthand because I'm listening to what my daughter is going through. It's just unbelievable.
And I do want to I want to toss out one thing here.
Sure.
This came up when I was speaking with Lisa. Pardon me. I need more coffee. This came up when we were talking with Lisa. COVID's the big wild card in here.
Sure.
Because, we're seeing a lot of rates go up, not so much in Virginia, but across the country.
Sure.
If we have another shutdown, all bets are off and we have to have this conversation again. So I'm hoping we do not.
Yeah.
But as we talk about schools and how they're meeting, that's an important component of that. How we all work through this as a community, I think, has a big difference to everything we've said about 2021, because it would not take much in terms of days of a shutdown to set us back again.
But do you, Quinton, do you think we learned from the last shutdown when it was at 25, 30 million Americans or more out of work? Didn't we learn from the last one not to do that again?
There's no evidence that America as a country learns from its mistakes. So there's...
look, they're kind of like our kids, right? They got to make their own mistakes and learn from them. But I agree with you, Quinton. I think that's the wild card. The wild card
shutdown?
here is some sort of shutdown. I also agree with Quinton. I think that we have the systems in place that if it's a there's no such thing as a little increase in it. It's a bad thing. Anything increase is bad. But unless it's a huge thing, I'll tell you, Quinton, you notice my wife is Austrian. Everybody knows this. We contact the Austrian news, watch the Austrian news. They've literally shut down Austria.
England is in shutdown right now.
Austria's shut down.
So is the UK.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Now, there's an important difference. There's an important difference. When the UK shuts down, nobody loses their job. Because the way they do unemployment is not how we do unemployment. So if you were to take the graph, if you've got the third quarter report, I challenge you to do this. Take the unemployment numbers graph and overlay it with the consumer confidence graph, and you will see that they move in opposite directions. Unemployment goes up, consumer confidence goes down.
Of course.
And so it's less a matter of how many jobs we retain, but what's the trend and how dramatic is that move? And the one thing that inventory will not fix is consumer confidence. So this is the issue with the shutdown, is not that people are hiding out in their homes and boarding up the windows out of fear of moving. It's the unemployment rates and how that affects consumer confidence.
So, Quinton, we got you over a little bit longer than I promised you.
Good job, Quinton.
Anything you want to add to your presidency? Anything that you want to shout out that way? And I got to sneeze. Excuse me.
We have a lot of really good stuff on the horizon with the association. We have a foundation that we're establishing. We already are having meetings set up that are bringing together nonprofits and community organizations, which you're aware of, to sit at the same table and talk about projects in partnership. And I'm excited about our ability to affect issues of stroke community.
I'm excited about your presidency.
Yeah, he's going to be good.
This is good. And look, well, hats off to Tom, right?
Oh, yeah. Being a president during a pandemic?
You know, I don't think he was 2 or 3 months into his presidency. And
Tom Woolfolk.
Yep. And then this just, get hit with a 2x4 over the top of your head. And, so his whole goals, his whole vision, everything that we just talked about went right out the window. And he was, and the staff over, Abby, Allie, Neil, everybody over there have just done a great job. And I'm going to give a little plug out to our political action group. We have a rule here. We have a real rule here not to talk politics, but I'm going to break that rule a little bit because they went out and fought for us at the state level to keep our industry open, and that was a smart thing for them to do. It was a smart thing for the governor to do, in my opinion, to keep us open as an industry. They set us protocols. They gave us guidelines that we needed to stay at, and we did that.
Can you guys imagine how vulnerable we would be if they did not deem real estate essential? And how critically important you and Quinton, your colleagues, and your entire industry has been to stimulating our economy nationally, statewide, and locally? I mean, you guys have driven the economy.
So our chemistry is working because I'm literally got notes on a show that I want to do, and maybe we'll get Quinton to chime in on it and some other folks on it, of what revenue housing, new construction, and existing brings to the economy. People don't really realize how many people we touch
on the supply chain,
on the GT, gross national product of the local economy on that. So there's a show in the works on that, and we'll bring in folks and go ahead and talk a little bit about it. Quinton, thanks, man.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, Quinton, you have a good one.
Did he call us gentlemen?
I hope you do as well, my friend.
Take care. QB, good people right there. Two mental titans.
Where?
In the game.
Where?
Quinton Beckham and Greg Slater.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to put me in that category.
Two mental titans. Guys, we got the gift cards.
Yeah.
The pies from the pie chest to give away. We're giving away 2 pies from the pie chest. If you want to get in the running for the pies, give the show a like and put in the comment section why you I want this pie from the pie chest. It's
Two
an
of 'em.
apple pie that I've been eating the entire show. It's absolutely amazing. In fact, this is the pie my family is going to be eating from the pie chest at Thanksgiving. We have 2 of them we're going to give away that you can pick up brand new anytime that you want from the pie chest, courtesy of the Yes Team Realtors.
That's right. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll give us your email, and we'll send you. We'll pay for it. We'll send you the thing and a date and time to pick it up for Thanksgiving.
What stood out from you for those interviews?
I'm sorry, I was eating pie. I didn't
Me
hear you.
too. I'm eating pie too. They're going to listen to the podcast today or next week, and they're going
And
to be
go,
like,
crunch,
these guys
crunch.
are freaking chewing and eating during the
Crunch,
show.
crunch, crunch.
But it was so good. What stood out from the show? So much today.
You know,
This was a phenomenal show with information.
yeah, and I knew that, and you know, we kind of pivoted from our having a lot of fun last Friday.
Right. Every I was going to say, our chemistry's working. Every show has a different identity.
That's exactly right. A little bit of different flavor. You know, last Friday was a lot of fun. This Friday, I wanted to get a little bit of knowledge out there,
Information.
and I, you know, I couldn't have thought of anybody better to bring in Greg on new construction, and I wanted to give Quinton an opportunity as the incoming president to kind of get out there with his goals and objectives, because as we talked about it, and we will talk about it in other shows, this world of real estate, this stuff that we talk about all the time on this show for twice a week, for how many hours, 3 hours or something like that a week, impacts us all. So we're going to talk about how we're going to do that. Any interesting things on the feed?
Yeah, I am looking those up here shortly. I think
Good. I'm going to eat pie while you're doing it.
I think your idea of having a show that shows the impact start to finish from the supply chain is brilliant.
Yeah, well, brilliant.
I really do.
My head's getting a little bit
I mean,
big.
because I don't think people realize.
No.
Start to finish, soup to nuts.
Yeah. So I've actually reached out to Lisa Servant, and she's feeding me some data, because this won't be my data. I'm just going to present it. Matter of fact, I was thinking, as Quinton was talking about, I think once COVID is over, I'm looking forward to doing a little bit of a round table around this table with him and Lisa.
Andre Xavier, my wife is 33 weeks pregnant and she is craving pie from the pie chest. Help me out, please, gentlemen.
Done.
Beth Richmond Hyder.
That's done. So that's one.
Andre Xavier, you just want a pie, courtesy of the pie chest.
Do me a favor.
The Yes Team Realtors, the I Love CVille Network, Keith and Yonna Smith. Actually, not the I Love CVille Network. You want a pie courtesy of Keith and Yonna Smith and the Yes
come on
Team
now.
Realtors.
We're all together. We're all
They
together.
were so generous. They gave, am I speaking out of turn? Did he get one of those?
He got one.
Okay. So I can say? I don't want to make him feel bad.
Are you okay if we talk about? Well, you okay if we
Did
talk
he
about
get-
the
he
pie
got
that
one?
we gave you?
Okay, so Keith and Yonna gave us a Thanksgiving Day card. It was so generous. Who gives Thanksgiving Day cards to begin with? It just speaks to their character, the Yes Team Realtors. In that Thanksgiving Day card was a $28 gift card to the Pie Chest. I was taken aback. I took it home to my wife. She was really taken aback. She said, we can use this pie for when my parents come visit from Long Island. Her parents come visit from Long Island. So the pie that's going to be on our Thanksgiving Day table is going to be Keith and Yonna's gesture, courtesy of the Pie Chest, and it's this apple pie that we ordered, and it's amazing.
Oh yeah. I want to hurry up and give it the show, because I can't talk and eat at the same time. I wanna
Andre
finish
Xavier
that
got a pie, so Michael Buchetsky's got some comments for you as well.
Hey, Mike.
President Q has a nice ring to it.
President Q. It's kind of like a James Bond thing. Q.
Beth Richmond Hyder cannot wait to meet in person. Kathy, is it Yursek? Kathy Yursek, Keller Williams Alliance. I love pie, almost healthy comfort food to share with others while supporting local businesses, and affordable housing is so important. Courtney Dickinson wants to get in the running for pie.
What is she saying?
She loves the show. Barbara Lundgren says, congratulations, Andre Xavier, on a well-earned pie. Christopher Eagle watching the program. Mary Ryber watching the program.
Oh, hey, Mary. How you doing?
Stephen Peters. Rick Tamburino says hello to you.
So, hey, Marine, real quick, Rick. On Tuesday, we're going to do a show and wish the Marine Corps a happy birthday. So please watch it, and I might figure out a way to kind of get you to chime in for 30 seconds while we sing the Marine Corps hymn.
Oh, that's a great idea. You should totally do that. Let's see here. Elena Mangione says, good morning to Quinton Beckham. Ray Cadell, inventory. Wow, I was working in the office at 11 p.m.
That's
on a
exactly
deal
right.
last night to try to beat multiple offers, and I really also like pie, Keith Smith.
Yeah.
How can
Well,
anyone
come
say
on now.
no
If you
to
look
pie?
at Ray, I mean, Ray, I love you, but it's
Stephanie says, can you win twice in 1 week?
No,
I'm asking
Stephanie,
for a friend.
no,
I'm asking
no,
for a friend.
no.
Andre Xavier, yes, interest rates will remain low for at least 12 months. The Fed said so.
Well, yeah. Is that kind of like because it's on the internet? You know, but,
Andy Wilfong, he hit it on the head. I own a house that I could care less about. I also own a home as of last year, and it's exactly what we wanted. We may never sell our current place, or at least until the kids are grown and on their own. After that, we may our house and sell our home. Big difference, though. I'm glad he touched on the difference between house and home.
so that's a great thing. We talk about this all the time. When we show up for a listing, one of the questions that we're going to work into it is this a house or this is a home? If it's still a home, then the conversation kind of goes in a different direction. If it's a house, then it'll go more of a numbers kind of side of things.
Michael Buchensky, our area is insulated, gentlemen. Back when the market crashed in 2008, the Charlottesville market did not follow the national average for job loss and home sales drop-off. The university, NGIC, hospitals, etc., keeps the job market humming, so we will be good to go for market growth. Michael Buchensky.
Plus, it's consistently one on the top of the places to retire in the United States.
Yay for Pie Day from Kathy. Barbara says, I love pie. Aaron King, the marketing and catering manager at Feast, says, I need pie today, Jerry. I have a feeling, and I'm going to do a hint to Keith Smith on this one, that if we pick Aaron King to win a free pie from the pie chest, she may be supplying us with gift cards to Feast next week to give away on your talk show.
Sold.
Just throwing that out there.
Sold. Sold.
Always be closing. Keith
Sold.
Smith.
Sold.
So is Aaron King the winner?
Well, hold it. Are we doing like one of these auction things?
Oh, that's a good idea.
We should do that.
Like a live auction on air.
We should do that. I like that idea.
We should flush that idea
What
out.
we're going to do is we'll get because actually, truth be known, it's
You know what you should do? Are you ready for it?
I'm waiting. I want to eat my pie,
This
but
is
I'm
going to
waiting.
blow your socks off.
Which ones? The ones that I got?
Greg Slater, get ready for this. Quinton Beckham, get ready for this. Susan Steinmark, get ready for this. A live auction on this network to benefit the land trust.
I like it. What are we giving away? What are we auctioning off?
Well, I mean, I come up with the big ideas. Now we got to flush them out. A live auction on the I Love CVille Network.
I think
Real
we should-
talk.
I think we should
to benefit the land trust.
I think we should
You
auction
hear
off.
that, Greg Slater? That's genius. That's genius.
How about we auction off our Batman and Robin outfits? Nobody's going to want them.
No one wants that, Steve.
Nobody-
We would have to pay people to take our costumes.
I
The
think
land
so.
trust would lose money there.
Yeah, bad idea. Sorry. I like it. Let's do it.
We should do it. That would correct. Jonathan Kaufman, nice job, Greg. Super informative. That's the broker owner at Nest Realty.
Hey, hats off to Jonathan. He's one class individual. Enjoy
He's
every
watching.
Any conversation I've ever had with Jonathan. I walked away a lot smarter.
Courtney Dickinson, hello, hello. Aaron King, hello. Barbara Lundgren votes for Aaron. Aaron King just said deal.
Deal. All right, so we gave him away. I think
She gets a 28. She gets. Is it a $20 pie?
it's a $28.
It's a $28 pie. It's like, I'm serious, dude. It's freaking legit. I'm eating during a talk show. It's so good. So Aaron King, marketing director, catering manager at Feast.
It's a mumble show.
Yeah. I mean, did you hear me almost drop the fork?
I saw that,
During
yeah.
Greg Slater?
I saw that.
That was the claim. So we're going to trade the Feast in the Purple Building on West Main. I mean, one of the best.
So we got. I think who was the first one I didn't
Andre
write?
Xavier and Aaron
Got
King.
it. Got it.
I'll do a Facebook group message with
Yeah. So all I need is both their emails, and then I'll handle it from there.
Iris Luck says, hire Barb Wired, me and Barbara, to plan the live auction on the network. She's always be closing too. I like that, Iris Luck.
Can we do this we'd have to, but how would we be able to do that here? We'd have to think
I
that
have
through.
ideas. I know how it would work.
I know you do. That's what's scaring me.
I have ideas. So what we would do, this is how it would work.
When
we would
wanna
do a
that?
live auction on air, almost like a telethon.
Oh.
The live auction would be, the goal
Who's
is,
Jerry Lewis, me or you?
that's essentially what it would be. The goal is this amount of money. We
like it.
stay on the air until the goal is reached. We get prizes donated from the various supporters of the land trust.
Oh, I'm loving this idea.
This is what people pay me high dollar for. Prizes donated from various supporters around the community. Those prizes come to us at no charge.
Okay.
We then offer those prizes for purchase below market rate.
Okay.
People would win because they're getting the prizes below market.
Is
Land
Susan
trust would
is
win.
Susan Steinmeier watching?
No, I don't have no
But
idea.
she's going to find about it.
I mean, I bet you we could raise 25 grand. And how much do you want to raise?
How much I want to raise?
Okay, all right. I shouldn't have asked a real estate
How
agent
much do
that
I
question.
wanna raise?
All right, $500,000.
No,
Jerry.
no, actually, no. I would want to
Dude,
raise.
the live auction would crush it.
Yeah. I no, seriously. If we can get to $1.50.
$150,000?
Yeah.
All right, so this is what the land trust is
This
going to
way
kick
I
the
can-
I Love CVille Network about 2%, 2 points on the package.
Okay, sure.
Oh, and 2% on $1.50, you would do that. That's a win for you guys, is
I
it
would
not?
do it. I'm going to raise it to 175, but that's. You get.
I'm going below market. You
And
command
you
3%.
get. Oh, you always say that. You're never below anything.
I'm below market.
You're always up there cranking it out.
That-
I like it. The
It's
reason
genius.
it's a genius idea. The reason I want, oh, shucks. We got to go.
I know. That's why he's been flicking us off the entire last 20 minutes.
No, well, full timeout.
I'm joking.
Timeout.
He's
So
giving us
everybody
the
on
stink eye now.
Instagram, I don't think that's in, he has no, that's not even in his fiber of his
No.
body.
You know it's in my body, though.
No, but I want to, we're negotiating this live? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I love to negotiate.
Yeah, sure.
This
Let's
is what
do
I
it.
do for a living is negotiate.
The reason I want to do $1.50 is then we can buy a piece of property. So we want to buy a piece of. So if we can do $1.50 or somewhere close to that,
You want to raise $150,000.
so that we can buy a piece of property, which we have on the contract, that we can build 5, maybe 6 Nassau houses. So this is a super great cause. I'm in 110%. So we're going to do like a 24-hour thing.
A bone 50, prizes donated. 98. This is nuts. I can't. What am I getting myself into?
You open your mouth, brother.
98% goes.
You knew once you opened up
98%
this door, I was
goes
going to
to the
go
land
through it.
trust. 2% goes to this firm right here.
I got it.
That's
I'm good.
below the 3% market value.
I'm good with it.
Judah Wickhauer, do you have any idea what I just got us into?
So can we wrap up the last minute and talk to Judah about this? Because
he's
I
gonna
love
be
you.
sleeping here.
I love you like a brother.
Look, he has no idea what he's gotten himself into.
I don't think he got himself into anything. I think we got him into something.
Do you understand what we're talking about? Let's go to the Judah cam. Look at that face right there. Can we go to the Judah cam?
I promise you, Judah, I'll buy more bones for the dog. Look at this, and we're making him work like crazy. You're making him work like crazy, and I'm agreeing.
him work like crazy.
I'm agreeing. No, and I didn't even buy him pie.
He's the highest paid non-owner in advertising in Central Virginia. Highest paid non-owner in advertising.
Brother,
That's 100% true.
brother,
That is 100%
brother.
true. That's 100%. That is 100%. I know for a fact. I know what this is what I do.
I
for
don't
a
care
living.
what he pays you. It ain't enough.
Christopher Eagle says, I want to see this happen.
Yeah.
It would crush.
Where would we do it though? Can we do it like at King Vineyard or something like
Why
that?
do you always try to move the show out of the studio?
Because I just want to wander a little bit.
This is basically what you're asking. This is what you're asking. You're asking.
Is my 2% going up?
You're asking us to move $25,000.
Are we going to have an argument in front of?
25.
We're going to have an argument in front of
No.
these
We're not
people?
going to have an argument. But we can't do it.
Okay, all right, got it.
Ted
got it.
Horde said he's in.
Cool.
CEO of Martin Horn.
Yeah, cool. Let's do it.
Ted Horde, what's your? Okay, we'll reach out to you of Martin Horn.
So
Ted Horde.
what? Well, let's because we've got a busy day.
I gotta go.
Well, let's set a time. When are we going to do it?
You
I'm
want-
going away for Thanksgiving.
Okay, well,
So we wanna
let's
do it
talk
bef-
off air about that. We could
Okay.
do that for Q. Oh, do you want to do it Q1? I mean, you're not talking about rolling this out right now.
I was ready to do it tomorrow.
He wants to roll. We have to flush this out. How it would be donated is we reach out to community partners
so-
who offer stuff of value
Got it.
as a donation. So this is the concept, and we got to go. The community partners get
Miss-
a charitable
Miss-
donation with this what they give to this concept.
Susan Steinmart's head's going to explode here in about a minute when I talk
Well, I
to
mean,
her.
this is the poker tournament concept on steroids.
I'm on it. I'm on board with it. 100%. All right, we got to go.
I have to go. I have to go. This is Real Talk. It's presented by legit people.
Well, thank you.
Can we?
Oh,
Pie.
pie. So hey, do yourself a favor. Though they're not sponsors of the show yet, I did an ABC today when I bought these 2 pies.
That's what you were doing.
That's exactly what I
That's what
did.
you were doing.
Hey, how about doing this? But go out and support them. They're wonderful people. The pies are unbelievable. It's buy local. We've already ordered 4 pies when we go up to Connecticut to visit our daughter for Thanksgiving.
Your son-in-law, Harry Tyson, says Keith's pregnant daughter, Yasmina, definitely loves pie.
Well, there's
does Keith's grandson, Harry. Hint, hint.
Got it.
Hint.
I got it. I ordered 4, Harry. Back off, man. Get off my back.
Is he in Connecticut?
Get off my back.
Or is he in the city right now?
No, he's in Connecticut, yeah.
Kathy says, you're sick, Kathy? As a new realtor, I don't have a large checkbook, but will help on phone lines if needed.
Hey, cool.
I mean, we have volunteers coming in. This is social media used for the good.
We should have hit Quinton up with this idea when he was live.
It just came to me.
Okay, we'll do that.
Yonna Smith, good to see you here.
There
we
you
love
go,
you.
babe.
We got to go. Judah Wickower, Keith Smith, Jerry Miller, Real Talk, I Love CVille Network. Have a good weekend. Keep it local. Love this guy. The Yes Team
Hey.
Realtors, A+ people.
I love the hell out of you, and I love that gray matter between your two ears. It comes up with some pretty great stuff.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You guys have a good morning. We'll see you in a little bit on our show.
I'm eating my pie.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah, we got to go.
We got to go.
Nicely done.